Hey, what's up everybody? How you guys doing today? So today I decided to look at Algorand. Now, Algorand is an amazing project. I like it. Um, Even Gary Gensler himself said he liked it. So, if you can believe it. So, looking at the price of Algorand, you could tell that it's gotten pretty beat up. I mean, massively beat up. And the way you can see that is right here. Everybody knows the COVID crash. The COVID crash, or I should say C-19, if I say the C word, I might get, you know, censored or something. So looking at the COVID crash, I'm going to say it anyway, you could see the wick, you could see the bottom coming in right at 10 cents, which is pretty bad. And you could see this beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move. But look what happened. We took out the freaking low. So this is not even wave one. So basically, Algorand never had any waves. Algorand's still in a corrective phase from the beginning of its inception, which is good and bad. The reason why, you want the good news first or the bad news? The reason why, I'll give you the bad news first. The reason why it's bad, right, is because, there's no trend, right? It's trending lower. You could see here, we're going down, then retracing, then going down. It looks like the trend is continuing to go down if you were to look at it that way. That's the bad news, right? But here's the good news. The good news is we haven't had a market structure shift, meaning we haven't had any bullish price action, right? We haven't had wave one. So if you look at Elliott wave, so just to pull it up here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then what do you have after that? You have A, B, C, and then what do you have after that? Another 5 waves to the upside. So that's a trend, right? When you see, so a lot of people, they wait for this wave to finish, right? Nobody gets the exact bottom. It's pretty difficult to find the exact bottom. I mean, maybe this is the bottom, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about why I really believe that this is the bottom. I could be totally wrong, and I'm willing to accept that. But I've been dollar cost averaging into Algorand. I like Algorand. Like I've said, it's one of the ISO 2022, I believe that's how you say it, coins, right? So it's one of the XRP family coins, So I'm with it. I like it. Let's see what happens. But going back to the trend, so usually when you have a wave to the upside, you wait for wave two, right? A lot of people buy wave two, or they buy the break above wave one, and then they ride the remainder of the third wave. They either take profit or they hold and then add to their position on wave four, and then they try to time the top of wave five, getting that divergence from wave three to wave five. And then, right, wait for I could go on and on and on, but you get what I'm saying. So we don't see that at all in Algorand. What we see is just a market, basically collapsing on itself. Let me go to a higher time frame and take everything off the screen. So most coins, so here's the thing. So here's the big thing, right? Most coins are like the equivalent of being like right in here, like right in this area. So most coins, right? They had their COVID dump, then they had a bull run, and now they're like halfway in between this wave, and they're sort of basing out. Some of them are breaking out, but they're right here. But look at Algorand. Algorand's way down there, and let me show you an example of that. 1 second. So just looking at the price of XRP, you could see like here's the COVID dump, right? Where Algorand's down here. So that's the thing that I'm like, okay, this can be very, very bad, or this can be a blessing in disguise. And that's why I wanted to talk about it today, because most coins, like I've said, here's the COVID dump. We have a bull run, in which case XRP didn't really have a bull run. It was more of a retracement because of the SEC lawsuit, but that was also a blessing in disguise. That will be another video. So we have the COVID dump. We have this big rise, right? And then we have the bear market. And what did the bear market do? It came about 50% of this whole wave. So if you take this wave right here and you cut it in half, this is where XRP is. Okay, so that's most of the market. XRP, maybe ADA, there's a lot of coins that are in this position. Now, Algorand is much different. Algorand is in a different league. And like I said, it could be a very bad thing, or it could be like a blessing in disguise. So Algorand, of course, right, went all the way up. It came down and down and down and down and down. And now it's right here, but it's poking its head out a little bit, and we'll talk about that. So look at the difference between where XRP is, comparing it to this wave. That's what we're doing. We're comparing the C19 wave all the way up to the top of the bull run. This is the wave we're comparing it to. So most coins are 50%, like I've said, in this in the range. And Algorand is way down here. Okay, so what does that mean? So let's talk about it. So here's Algorand, and like I said before, like XRP was pretending like most of the altcoins are right here, Algorand's way down here. So as an investor, when I look at this, now you have to figure out what you are. Are you a trader? I mean, this could be good if you're a trader. This could be an amazing opportunity if you're an investor. And by the way, everything I say is not financial advice. I could be totally dead wrong on everything I say. You know, the price of whatever can go to $100, or the price of whatever can go to $0. I have no idea. But what I'm doing is I'm just looking at a chart objectively, trying to remove my biases aside, because most of us have a bullish bias, right? We're all invested in the crypto in some way, right? We all got into crypto with the anticipation of earning money, right? So we have a bias to the upside, most of us, right? And if you're a 100% trader and you don't care about, you know, if it goes up or down, you know, a lot of people don't. A lot of people say, well, why does it matter, right? I can make money going down. I can make money going up. I don't care what it does. I just want to be a part of it. And that's fine. But most people on the planet, they cannot do that. I mean, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but obviously it's very hard to time the market and to trade. Trading is difficult. Even the best traders in the world will tell you it's difficult. And most of the reason why it's difficult is because most people who trade, they might know how to read a chart. You might know how to do a good entry. But the biggest thing comes to risk and preserving capital. And that's one of the biggest things when it comes to trading. So this channel is not necessarily a trading channel. I don't make trades. I don't call trades. I don't predict anything. This channel is basically, if you like crypto and you believe in the longevity of crypto, especially the utility value of crypto, and you believe that it will push the price in a bullish way, and also an investor, right? If you're an investor, what do? Right? You buy. That's what you do. And how do you buy? You dollar cost average. And that is what this is about. Not telling you when to dollar cost average, but someone who likes crypto, someone who wants to see it succeed, this is the deal. So now what does this have to do with Algorand? Well, looking at the price of Algorand, it is in my opinion, now like I said, I could be totally wrong, but it is in my opinion that I think Algorand is going to be a big mover. And it might not seem like that because things are so depressing. Remember, I want you to picture yourself as a brain, right? The psychological nature of everybody's brain. So when you analyze millions and millions of people and they see a wave that goes up and then they see a wave that goes down, 50% they're like, okay, that makes sense. But if you see a wave that goes up and then breaks the low of the COVID low, your brain just like, nope, 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 nope. It shuts off. It says, this is dead. This is going to zero. This thing is trash. Why would I even want to even think about buying it when most coins are remaining relatively healthy? And that's true. And that's true. Why would someone say, you know what, I'm going to buy it here, and that could be a good thing, right? Because you have more percentage gain. So what is that percentage right there? Just to see. So if I take it up there, that's an additional 300 to 400%, right? So you're basically risking, 400% of not doing it, right? But then there's also a downside, right? We're at 10 cents. This thing can go to 1 cent and it'll be down, 90, 100%. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. But basically what I'm trying to say is this chart to me looks bullish. And the reason why is because look how massive that move is. And I want you to count the waves with me. When you look at trend, and I'll talk about, if you know blockchain backer, his 7-wave crashing structure, right? 7-wave bottoming structure. And it's true. If you look at a lot of charts, a lot of them have that 7 waves in there. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll say all this is 5, 6, 7. And to me, right there, that is telling me, okay, buyers are getting exhausted. Buyers are like, sellers are getting exhausted. Sellers are like, you know what? This is not good. I got to take profit, right? And so if you're basically shorting, right, up here, you should be taking profit right now, especially because you see this base developing. So, and here's the biggest part why I'm bullish. Remember on the previous videos, I talk about tapping liquidity, right? The infamous tapping liquidity. So if you're a market maker, you need liquidity. You need liquidity. If you have tens of millions of dollars, you can't just buy whenever you want, right? So for example, let's say you had $10 million and you wanted to buy right there. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it because you're in a range. You're stuck in a liquidity trap, right? So what you need to happen is you need to wait for example, let's say this was the area here, and we're going to zoom in here, and this is where you start to see the smart money come in. So you could see right here where the price went up. Nope, can't buy it. So let's pretend you're a billionaire. You have $10 million you want to buy, but you can't buy because there's not enough liquidity. If you go into Binance or Coinbase or whatever exchange and you say, I want $10 million, they're not going to fill your order because there's not enough liquidity to fill that order, or there's not enough coin on the market to fill that order. So what you need to do is you need to wait for an influx of liquidity to basically rampage into the market. And what that does is, basically allows you to fill your order. So how do you fill your order if you have $10 million? Well, the price goes all the way up. Most retails, if you're retail, you're freaking out like, oh man, I missed it. It's gone. I can't get it. Smart money is like, nope, I'm going to wait. We come all the way down. Here's support. Here's the wick, support, wick, support. So the retail's like, okay, buy. We can buy now, right? Because we're on support. This is a good thing. We pulled back. And what happens? We come all the way up and we break below the support. We break below the support. What does that mean? Everybody goes short. Everybody's like, okay, it's over. The wave's done. We just took out this support. We took out this support. We took out this support, and we're crashing. And life is over. So everybody goes short. So what happens is everybody goes short, and then the big whale comes in with his $10 million because all the shorts just gave the exchange basically an unlimited supply of liquidity. Well, not unlimited, but a massive amount of liquidity. So now the big money says, okay, all that liquidity is in the exchange. Everybody is short. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy the fear. When we broke below, everybody got fearful. Everybody went short. But the $10 million person, he's like, nope, I'm buying. So what happened? Price shoots right back up, impulses, has a little pullback, and then continues going on a massive way. And his $10 million is now worth probably 100 million or more. So that's the deal, right? And the same thing goes with selling. He can't just sell here. He has to wait. So here's another example right here. Let me just put a little trend line right there. So here's the support, right? Or here's the resistance. And let's say he bought right here. He can't sell at all. He has to wait. Can't sell, can't sell, can't sell, can't sell, can't sell, right? Once you break this right here, this is your resistance. This is your resistance. Let me zoom in here. Once you break that, once you break this, see that candle? It closed above, and then boom, you had a big candle to the upside. And if you look left, there's no trading volume, right? I mean, there's no resistance or support. Basically, it's like you broke out into outer space and there's nothing above you. There's no resistance ahead of you. So you're entering price discovery, right? So that's what we call price discovery. When Bitcoin breaks above 69,000, its all-time high, at that point it will go into price discovery. Price discovery is a billionaire's dream, because that's when the oceans of liquidity flood the markets, right? So when we have this big green candle, the guy who bought $10 million down here, he can now sell his position, because when we broke this resistance, that allowed all of the liquidity to pour in. So now everybody's like, okay, it doesn't matter if they're going long or short. A lot of people are buying it on the spot exchange. So the supply goes down, the market cap goes up, the liquidity goes up, and what does the whale do? He sells. Boom, he sells. And then what we see in here is called distribution. And I know I'm kind of going over a little lesson here, but I'm going to get to why I think, if you bear with me here, I'm going to get to why I think Algorand is in a bullish spot, and why I picked up some Algorand, So we can see billionaire bought $10 million. Does he sell? He could sell in here, right? So what we see, this is all corrective, right? Corrective behavior. This is what we call distribution, right? So if you have $10 million, you can't sell $10 million at once. Even right here, it's pretty difficult to do that. You have to have, you take your $10 million position and you break it up into like maybe 5 or 6 pieces, right? And that's what we call distribution phases. So a distribution phase is this right here. Let me put this here. So if this is the resistance, right? And we run up to the resistance, and let's say you sold here and here and here. Well, you still have more to sell, and you have to wait. So when we pull back, you still have to wait, right? And then we pull up, and look what happens. We do it again. Here's the resistance right here on the candle close. right? The candle breaks above the resistance. Everybody's like, okay, let's go long. We're breaking out. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Just like when the sellers showed up and said, hey, we're breaking down. Let's sell, let's short, right? Same thing. Buyers see and sellers see that we break above the resistance. And now it's like, okay, what do you do, right? We're breaking out. So what does that mean? You buy, right? Obviously, that's what you do. You buy. So what happens? Everybody goes in long. And then what happens? That $10 million position sells another position. He sells, right? So now he has a couple positions left. And what happens is now the market, boom, reversed on itself. He doesn't care if it goes all the way up here or here or here. All he wants is to tap that liquidity. If you tap that liquidity, and this is where ICT comes in. I'm not a big ICT guy, but if you want to learn how to trade ICT concepts, I would recommend following a guy named Dan Dowd. His name is Dan Dowd Trading. He has a YouTube channel, and he goes over this much more brilliantly than I can. I just give you the sort of the basics and kind of tell a story of how it is. He really goes in depth on how it all works. But basically, going back, when we break this resistance here, what happens is, like I said, everybody pours into the market. You have an influx of liquidity, and then he sells his position. And then what happens? Boom. And then what happens? It does it again. This is when the market comes down here, look what it did. This wick took out this low. So it works both ways. So basically, the billionaires, they love to, trade the ranges as well, right? Because ranges break below, right? So, for example, we have this is our support, right? We held support, we broke resistance, you sell. You come down here, you broke below support. So now what do? Well, most people say, okay, we're going to go short. But what happens? The billionaire still has more to sell. So what does he do? He actually buys a little bit to push the price back up here. And then that final break above this line, right, doesn't quite break this, right? But there's still enough liquidity in there to sell. And then he exits his position and then we capitulate, right? Or it could have been not necessarily in this range, but, this was the actual top right here, right? So, he could have did it in many different ways. But that's just basically kind of explaining how market makers like to, pick their positions and when to sell their positions. And that's where it protects you from getting hurt, because a lot of people are breakout traders. They wait for the breakout and they say, okay, let's go. A breakout is only good if we're at the bottom of the range. And a breakdown is only good as if we're at the top of the range, or what I should say, bull run or bear market, right? So now you understand what I just said. Okay, so let's go to today. What just happened? We broke below the ultimate low. This is the ultimate low of lows, right? This is the all-time low right here. We came all the way up, bull run, 5 waves, great. We came all the way down, so here we go. We have 7 waves to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 waves. We have 7 waves, that's point number 1. Number 2, we broke this liquidity, which means what? Which means, remember the guy who has $10 million. The guy who has $10 million can now what? He can now buy. He can now purchase. Why? Because there's an influx of liquidity. When we broke this low, a lot of people went short. And it's so dumb to go short because look how much it's fallen quite a bit. So why would you go short? I mean, yeah, of course it could keep going and going and going. And that could very well be the case, right? And in that case, the retail trader would win. But most of the time, the guy who has $10 million wins. And the guy who has $10 million is looking for a liquidity break. And we just got that liquidity break after a 7-wave move to the downside. So what more do you need, right? Algorand's a good project. I think it has a lot of longevity. If you dive deep into Algorand, it's big in the XRP community, and for good reason. It's a good project. So let me go to the higher time frame. Let's go to the weekly chart. So you could clearly see, a break above. So if you even go to the candle, the close, let's go to the very wick, you could see what happened. And what happened is we broke this low, which means everybody went short, right? Right here. You can see that red candle. If I zoom in, right here, we're holding support, we're holding support, we're holding support, and then what happens? Boom, we break below the C19 low. Everybody goes short. Okay, we're going down. This is it. This is it. And what happens? We stop. And what happens? The guy with $10 million, I'm using him as an example, the whale, the billionaire, the $10 million guy, he comes in and he buys. Because why? Because he's able to buy. He goes, finally, I have a chance to buy. I got all this money. I got it all in the banks. I got it under my mattress. I got it in my drawers. I have it all over the place. And I don't know what to do with all my money. So now I can finally buy Algorand. Because why? Because now there's liquidity in the market. And it's allowing me, the guy with $10 million, not me personally. I wish I had $10 million. The guy with $10 million to purchase Algorand because there's an influx of liquidity. So he buys it in here, and I'm not saying it's not confirmed yet, but it looks like it. I mean, look at this. We're breaking out, right? We're breaking back above into this area here. So he buys in here. We have this wave to the upside, a wave to the downside. It doesn't take out the low. Remember before, we have this 1, 2 without breaking this low. And now we're continuing to go higher, breaking above the C19 low. So guys, to me, this is a good sign. Things can turn around and crash. And, it's definitely possible. We can go down and we can crash. But I don't think so. I don't think that's what's happening. I think what's happening is bullish. And I like my bases. So if let's put a little base here, you can see the price is starting to form a base. And this is another reason why I'm bullish. The biggest reason is we broke this low. And most people would say, well, that's bearish. Well, no, like I said, the guy with $10 million can now buy his position because now there's enough liquidity in that exchange for him to fill his order. It's all about filling orders, right? If I go and buy $1 million worth of whatever, like especially a small cap coin, that's why a lot of billionaires, they don't mess with small cap coins. I mean, we can because we don't, we can do it. But like, let's say there's a coin in the top, let's say it's coin number 600 and something, right? A billionaire is not going to buy that coin because the market cap is so low, his order would never get filled. And that's the problem. So Algorand is, it's not a big market cap, but it's pretty sizable. So when you break this low, everybody pours in and now he's able to fill his position. That's the big reason. Another reason is we had 7 waves. And another reason is we're starting to form a base at or around the previous low. So that's a good sign, right? Because normally what happens is, if this is the last line of support and we come down and we break it, what happens is we come up and we free fall because that confirmed it. But that's not what happened. What happened is we came down, we tapped underneath, right underneath the line. Like it's like you're diving, you're spearfishing or you're diving and your head is right below the surface. It's a safety net. Right? You're not deep, you're not diving deep, you're shallow, right? So then it gives you plenty of time to stick your head above water and it's like, okay, we're good, we're safe, right? So, instead of crashing, we stopped just below the C19 low and then popped our head back up, creating this base, right? So this is why I'm starting to really like Algorand, you know? And then going back to what I said before, a lot of coins are right here, right? They're 50%. This is the wave. Most coins come here and they're 50%. Algorand's way down here. So that's another reason. That's another reason why I'm bullish, is because it's diverting away from the rest of the market. Either that, or maybe Algorand's dead, right? Maybe the developer's quitting. Maybe they're like, yeah, this isn't going to work out. I mean, why is the price so undervalued? Is it something systematically wrong? Is it a dead project? I mean, it could be, right? It could be a dead project, right? But I don't think so. I think there's something special about Algorand. You know, this is not financial advice. Like I said, I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong on this, but I don't think so. I think what's happening is this is a blessing in disguise, at least for me. You know, I'm not going to go in heavy, right? Because, you know, I don't want to risk too much, because it did fall quite a bit and it did break this low. And normally that's a bullish sign. But, you know, if the rest of the market is here and Algorand's down here, it makes you wonder, like, hey, well, you know, what's going on with that? You know, so I think it's a blessing in disguise. I think it's diverting away. And also, the reason why I'm not, you know, the reason why I am willing to buy, right, and I am buying, is because it's at a low risk entry point for me. I mean, if you look at the C19 low and you look at where we're at, we're basically at the bottom. So basically, imagine this. Imagine Bitcoin is at $3,200 right now. Would you buy it? Hell yeah! You would probably sell your house to buy it. You would go all in on that, right? If Bitcoin was that low. Everybody would be, well, if Bitcoin was that low, everybody would be running for the hills. But, you know, most people say, if Bitcoin ever went down to 5,000 or 4,000, I'll buy it. But then once it gets there, they're like, no, I don't want it. And that's the way psychology works. But just imagine if Bitcoin was at 3,200. This is the COVID crash right here. When Bitcoin crashed, it got down to like 3,200, 3,400 bucks, or somewhere in that area, the mid 3,000s, right? So I remember that day very clearly. I was coming home from work. I pulled into my garage. I looked at my phone and I go, wow, that's an amazing price, right? And I didn't buy it. I was in my car. I put my phone in my pocket. I went upstairs. I took a shower. I came out. I checked my phone again, and it risen like 500 bucks. I'm like, oh man, I got to get this, right? And it was actually one of the best buys I ever got. That in back in 2018, before we went on that 2019 retracement, was also a pretty good buy. But anyway, that's another day. So Algorand, I think, is pretty bullish. Now let's zoom in and let's see what we can find here on the zoomed in chart. Let's see if there's any Wyckoff accumulation happening in here. So let's check out the 4-hour chart. So the 4-hour chart looks pretty good. You could see we have sort of two ranges in here, and one of the ranges breaking out. Look at that. Look at that, guys. Look at that. And then here's another bigger range, right? We're in a bigger range. But if I want to, let's focus on the smaller range first. And I want to talk about Wyckoff. So I'm going to pause the video. So this is Wyckoff accumulation. I've talked about it a few times in the previous videos, especially on Theta and a few others. So looking at Wyckoff accumulation, and let's see if we can see if this is what's happening. Basically, what Wyckoff accumulation is a market maker special. It's what allows the whale to tap that liquidity. So let me bring up the image. Let me do this so you can see what I'm talking about. So remember, in the beginning of the video, middle of the video, I said the only way the guy with $10 million The only way he can buy and get his order filled is if there's an influx in liquidity. And what this does, what Wyckoff does, it's basically an accumulation, right? So the price dumps to the downside, then it retraces 3 waves up. Most people are like, okay, now we're going to continue going down. Anytime you have 5 waves down and 3 waves up, or if you have 5 waves up, 3 waves down, that's usually a signal that it's going to continue with the trend. So in this case, it started to continue with the trend, and what happened is it broke the low. It took out this low. So what happened? The guy with $10 million comes in and he buys position. It comes back up. It makes a lower high, which everyone, the retail's like, okay, it's just a dead cat bounce. Don't worry. You know, most people right here, by the way, all went short. The guy with $10 million, he went long. He bought. Price comes up here, makes a higher low. The retail's like, it's okay. We're still safe. No problem. Let's add to our position, you know? So they add to their position, and then it starts going down, and they're like, yes, I knew it was going to go down, you know? And they're all happy. And then what happens? It takes out this low. This is the spring phase, by the way. Now the market is entering the spring phase. And the spring phase basically means it's like in a spring. It's like, think of this like a coiled spring, and it's getting tension, boom, and it explodes to the upside. So basically what happens is the price comes down and it takes out not only this low, but this low as well. So both lows. So then what happens with retail, right? The retail was shorting up here, right? They shorted down here. The price came back up. They got screwed. And they said, it's okay. Let's add to our position. They shorted again. They came all the way down, right? And the guy with $10 million, what did he do? He bought. Why did he buy? Because it broke the low, not by a mile, not by 100 miles, but by a couple feet, right? It broke the low. You don't want, when I say break liquidity, you don't want it to break too far, because that's a dangerous sign. What you want is for the price to somewhat take out this low, and grab liquidity. They call it what? A liquidity grab. And I'll say that again. A liquidity grab. It's the infamous liquidity grab, right? So, you know, retail says, okay, we broke the low. And what do? They go short again. And what happens? The guy with $10 million bought. Because why? His order got filled because we took out this low and this low. So an influx of liquidity came into the exchange. Most of people going short, he was able to purchase. What happens after that? Reaction. Boom. That's what happens. That is Wyckoff accumulation. That is how the guys with $10 million trades. That's the guys, the multi-millionaires. Like I've said, I'll keep repeating myself. They cannot buy like you and I. They can't just go on Coinbase and buy. They have to wait until there's a liquidity influx. And the way that happens is if it breaks down or breaks out. And that's where liquidity comes in, right? And when it breaks down, it often reverses and goes back up. When it breaks up, sometimes it reverses and goes back down. But it really depends, right? You can say, well, how do I know if it's going to be a real breakout or just a liquidity grab? Well, where is it at? Is it at the top of the range, or is it at the bottom of the range? Or I should say, is it at the beginning of the trend, or is it at the top of the trend? Did we already create 5 waves to the upside and it's happening up here, or is it happening down here? If it's happening in the middle, right, that's usually a continuation of the direction. If it's happening, at the top, that's usually a sign that, if we break out again, that's usually a sign that we're going to reverse back down. Okay, so now you understand that. So let's see if that's what's happening right now. I have no idea. I haven't even looked at this. This is the first time that I'm comparing it. So let's see. So just looking at it off the bat, it's not perfect. And this might be a bad example. There's another Wyckoff accumulation that might fit better, especially because it didn't take out the low. Okay, so let's play with this one, and we'll do the next one. So we have a 3-wave move to the upside. We have a 3-wave move to the upside. Then we have this down move. we have this down move. The candle took out the base. It didn't take out the wick, but it took out the base of the candle, or the body of the candle. We came right back up, and looking at this wave here looks very similar to this wave here, right? So we came back up, and sometimes this wave will take out this high, and that's another way for people to add to their positions. And then what do we see? We see a beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sort of this diagonal, this falling wedge or falling channel, whatever you want to call it. And that I looked at as a spring phase. And then what do we see? A reaction to the upside. And what do we see now? It breaking above this area here. So here's the thing. What if it's a guy with $10 million and he's going to short it now? So now we broke this liquidity, right? We broke the liquidity. We broke out. So what if the market is going to go down, and this was just an opportunity for the big whale to sell his position? Well, we don't know that. But the reason I don't think that is because look how much we've fallen. We fall so much. The price is getting extended and exhausted. So that's what I'm saying. So let me put a different one up and you can see. So this is another Wyckoff accumulation pattern, but instead of the spring, it's a little different. You call it a creek, right? So I'm going to put this one on the screen. And I'm going to put this one over here, make that one smaller, bring this one, make that one bigger. So this is what I think is happening. So you could see, we have 3 up, down move, back up. So basically it's oscillating in the range. That's what Wyckoff does. It oscillates so that it's building that liquidity. It's like a coiled spring. It's building the base. The bigger the base, the higher in space. And then what does it do? It comes down and it creaks. It's creaking. It sort of curves, right? It's like the bottom of a tire. It's starting to curve like a half circle. So same thing here. But this is actually more bullish because it's actually, it comes down and it creaks down. It doesn't take out that low like this example. Both examples are relevant though. So, and then instead of, coming down here and sort of building another base, what does it do? It's a V bottom. And that's why I'm even more bullish, is because of this V bottom right here. After the spring phase or the creek, we have this V bottom recovery and we broke out. So that, guys, I don't want this video to get too long. I know my videos get overly extended, and most people's videos are 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 at the most. Mine go on for a long time, but it's just the only way I know how to do it. I like to explain things in the way I know how to explain it. Sometimes I repeat myself, but this is more for the beginner, somebody who's just starting out, maybe who's been in a while. I don't know, but basically I think Algorand is right here. So if I had to guess, let's put a line here. And remember, we still have all this to work through. See all this right in here? We have all that to work through. So if we throw a trend line on there, we can see. So I'm going to get rid of this. We know that it's Wyckoff. We established that. So if I take a trend line right here and I match it to here, and that's where we are, right? We broke above the trend line, the downward resistance line. So now we have to worry about this area, and this area. Also this area, right? So instead of all those lines, I'll just put a big box right here. And that will be that'll be our target area, right? So yeah. Oh, when I say target area, I don't mean it's going to stop there, but at least that's where we need to get through. We need to get through that red box in order to continue and have a confirmation of the market structure shift. So far, so good, right? So far, so good. We broke out of this range here. We have a beautiful 4-hour candle. Today's going to be, let's look at the daily candle. Did the daily candle, okay, great. So we have 4 hours to go on the daily candle, and the daily candle will be officially breaking out above the range. So that's a good sign. So what can we expect now? Well, going back to that Wyckoff picture I showed, you could see price coming up, maybe dancing around. We want to see it back test the range, right? So that it can confirm it and then continue higher, right? So that would be a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we continue going on our way. And that's what it would look like. And that would show me that this is a bottom. You could see it's a bottoming process. You could see that this is the sell side, this is the accumulation side, and this is the buy side, right? The buy side of the curve. So, so that's, to me, this looks like a good bottom, and it looks like it's coming in. Now, would I buy at this very second? Maybe if you want to wait for a pullback, I'm not one to say if you should buy right now. I mean, what I like too is I like pulling up my TD sequential, and we could see that we've had many green candles in a row. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we've had 11 pretty straight upward trend candles. So, and this thing can really accelerate to the upside. But what I would like to see is price maybe go up a little higher and come down and oscillate above the range, maybe back test 10 cents. Right now it's at 11 cents, back test 10 cents, and then continue on. So this is a good thing. I would probably wait for a pullback. I mean, even the pullback, this is a big wave to the upside. Maybe we can come down here and retest this area. So see this area right here? See that area right there? When we broke above that area, we never came down to back test it to continue on. So the price can come all the way up. It can back test this area and then continue on. But would that invalidate the Wyckoff pattern? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. We really don't want it to do that. We really want it to stay above the breakout point. So yeah, so basically, if I put it all back on the screen and I just say, hey, if we come up here, something like this, and then continue on, and then zoom out, what would that look like? Then you could start to see that. That's what we want to see. We want to see that market structure shift, right? And then from there, we really need to get above 23 cents, right? And if we could do that, we come down here and we back test, we come back up here, and then we can start challenging up into the retracement levels, right? So I don't know if this is a new bull run, right? It could be a bull run or it could be a retracement. And a retracement would be, so we have this down move, this counter move, another down move, right? Retracing back up and then continue going down, right? But even if we do that, we still have some upside to grab some liquidity to bring it back down. So it's hard to say what's going to happen. But looking at it objectively, it looks pretty exhausted. I mean, let's see if there's any other indicator. Let me see if I go to the weekly chart. I put the TD sequential. I mean, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4. We've had 4 9 buys, right? So here's the 9 buy. You could see it's saying, hey, look, the price is getting extended, and it created these red dots. So I really want to see, so you have a green 1 going above a green 2. We really want to see it breaking above these red dots and closing above on a weekly perspective, looking at the TD sequential. But anyway, that'll be TD sequential is a good indicator for exhaustion and trend reversals. But what we really, really want to see is the price get back above the bull market support band. So this is a band, and every time it came up here, that would be a good time to short, 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 right? So now we're entering it again. The question is, are we going to break it? If you want low risk, what I would probably wait for, not financial advice, but let's say, the band's coming down like this, I would wait for price to break above the band and then come down and retest that band. If it can hold the band and, hold it as support and then continue marching higher, probably somewhere in here would be a great time to maybe consider adding or picking some up. So yeah, we just have to wait and see. But guys, looking at this chart, it looks pretty bullish to me, at least from a low risk entry point. And when I say bullish, I mean an opportunity wise. The chart looks horrific. The chart looks totally bearish. It looks pretty bad. But from an opportunity standpoint, I love how we're sort of basing above this line in here, right here. We broke that and we're starting to base out. So, and then also all of these waves in here. I mean, if you can notice, that would be wave 1, wave 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's wave 3, 4, and then 5, right? So we have 5 waves. At least we need an A, B, C, right? And to continue going down. So if price wants to continue going down, that's fine, great. But what needs to happen is we need a counter trend move, right? Nothing just goes down, 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 down forever, 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 right? We want it to go down, but we also want it to come back up, grab more liquidity, then bring it down. Right? Nothing goes down in a straight line. So looking for some type of 3-wave move. Now this can turn into a new bull run. We go a new all-time high. It could be, right? Or it could just be a retracement. So we want to see it come right back up into here, come up into here, and then go down. So that's why I'm saying. That's why I like Algorand, because, a lot of coins, like I said, this is the whole move. A lot of coins are like 50%, right? So if they go up, in a retracement, they don't have that much room to go up, right, before coming back down. If it is a retracement, if it's a new bull run, then it doesn't really matter, right? So now let's talk about targets. It's very hard to put targets on. I always do targets at the end. So I mean, I guess you can do it like this. You come up here, come down here, and then come all the way down here. That's crazy. Let me do that one more time. So, wow, this thing is at what, 10 cents? If I take this off, take that off, okay. So I would look at the 1.618, so $4 and between, I would say right in here. This would be a good area right in here to for me to take some profit. So where would that be? That would be a monster move, guys. I mean, that would be an amazing return if it did break out. So a lot of times too, we can have a counter trend, right? Like I said, we come up, we come down, and we retrace. But instead of doing that, what we could do is we can come down, and then what we do, remember the guy with $10 million? We break this liquidity. We take that liquidity out, and then we just come crashing down. And that's when the big boys come in and take profit, right? Because they need that liquidity. They need to take out this high. All the liquidity will pour in, and then boom, take it out. So that could happen. But anyway, looking for some type of retracement. It doesn't have to come up here, but let's look at the percentages. So if I were to buy right now, and we got all the way up to here, guys, that's a 3,000% move. I mean, come on. If we got all the way to the top there, between 3,000 and 4,500 4,500%, right? So if you want to be conservative and say it takes out this, that's a good 800%. So, that those are some pretty interesting numbers. So I gave you all the reasons why I think Algorand is in an interesting position. Like I said, I could be totally wrong on all that stuff, but just looking at the way this is going down, it looks pretty corrective. It looks like it wants to flatten out and continue going higher. So we got plenty of time. You don't need to rush. Don't need to rush anything. There's going to be pullbacks along the way, but I wanted to do a video on Algorand because Algorand hasn't been getting much love. It's got a lot of attention back in here. I mean, on the previous bull run, we went all the way up about 2,500%. So it was a pretty great, pretty good coin. I mean, it went up all the way $2.84. That was much more than XRP, by the way, right? XRP only got up to $2, and but yeah, Algorand started off from 10 cents, and it got all the way up to almost $3. So it was a pretty good return, and the project is good, right? I like the project, so we'll see what happens. That'll be it for today's video. If you have any suggestions of some coins you want me to take a look at, maybe drop it in the comment and I'll check it out and see. But as of right now, I'm pretty glad that I purchased Algorand. Let's see, where did I buy it exactly? I'll show you real quick before we wrap this up. I got it at I purchased it right in here, and I purchased again right in here. Didn't get the low, didn't get the very low. Pretty hard to do that. I could have gotten it, but I've gotten it right in here, DCA. It came down here. It was a little worrisome, but I thought maybe it was a spring. I thought initially that it was going to curl out and start going up because of the way it was sort of flattening out here, but it was just setting up for one more wave. So didn't really catch that, but that's okay. What's a couple percentages among friends, right? So, this looks good. We're starting. I mean, look at the candle. Look at this. We're getting going. If we look close, let's look at the 15-minute. Look at that. It's getting a little extended, but not too bad. This thing can really accelerate. We want to see it get above the top of the band. So at 11.71, and right now it's at 11.21. So let's see how Algorand progresses. Now, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if we came down to backtest this area. So, we have this, we came up into this range, we sort of consolidated, we break out, but oftentimes we can come down and retest the top of this range, hold it, confirm it as the new support, and then continue on. So maybe that might be another good entry point for DCA. So who knows? Let's see what happens, guys. Thank you for watching the video. Gosh dang, it's almost an hour long. I've been talking that long. Jeez, I'm so sorry. I just talk. And yes, but you know what? This is why I'm passionate. I'm passionate about crypto. I love talking about crypto, especially the price, because price is king, right? And when I talk about price, I'm not always right, I'm not always wrong. Sometimes it's in between, but at the end of the day, it's good to talk about it to see and how things progress. So let's see how it progresses. So take care. Thanks for watching. See you next time.